Okay, so animal research is terrible and no one likes it, and content warning, obviously, this will be gross, but not explicit. But for now, understanding biology means we need to study live animals. I'm Dr. Peter Allen. I am a PhD chemist. This week, I want to compare vampirism to a macabre and shocking experiment called Parabiosis, where two animals are literally sewn together. Young blood makes old creatures young again. There's nothing supernatural about this, but it might seem like black magic. Ultimately, there's some strange parallels in vampire mythology. It relates to immortality and inequality. Parabiosis experiments have been known since the 19th century. In the 21st century, old mice were sewn to young mice, and the old mice were rejuvenated. It sounds like vampirism, admittedly without the fangs or sparkles. The old creature seems to steal life through the blood of the young, but it just seems that way. Though there is a connection between the real science and vampire folklore, vampire stories express our anxieties about scientific progress, mortality, and the parasitic nature of wealthy aristocrats. The science of life-saving transplants started out with parabiosis experiments. In the 19th century, alleged vampires were still having their hearts cut out to prevent their rise from the grave. Even with that backdrop of superstition, scientists knew that blood could sometimes be transfused. Blood-type compatibility was still poorly understood. But what about a whole organ? How compatible are tissues from one creature placed in a different creature? Scientists observed what happened when the circulatory systems of two animals were connected to help understand tissue compatibility. People took these scary new ideas like transfusions and parabiosis and electrophysiology and made horror stories. If two animals can be sewn together, could we assemble a new creature from spare parts and infuse life with electricity? Frankenstein's monster. If a transfusion saved a life, is blood transferring life? Enter Dracula. Folklore often expresses our anxieties. In vampire lore, blood is life. Drink blood, absorb life. Tales of blood magic and ritual sacrifice must have felt quite relevant to people first witnessing true blood transfusions. Bram Stoker's Dracula incorporated these scary ideas. A blood transfusion saves a character's life. The symbolism is quite explicit. The blood is the life. Blood, the life! Thank you, Mr. Renfield. Anxiety about newly emerging biological science had an expression in vampire lore. Dracula and vampirism about lots of other things too, like historical figures, Vlad the Impaler, xenophobia in Victorian Britain, fears of venereal disease, suspicion of wealthy aristocratic parasites, and their paradoxical, charismatic attraction.
Like Cedric Diggory. Or maybe Sirius Black is a better example.
Enter the 21st century, and parabiosis is helping scientists understand the biology of aging. Almost all animals age, grow old, and die. Despite this near universality, the aging process is not fully understood. What biochemistry drives aging? Is aging the accumulation of bad garbage in the body, or a depletion of healthy biochemicals, or both? Is it caused by something internal to cells or outside of cells, or both? Parabiosis is a way to understand this problem. Scientists connected the circulatory systems of a young mouse and an old mouse, and it changed the aging process of both. The young mouse aged faster, and the old mouse was rejuvenated. This tells scientists that something in the blood, possibly something dissolved in serum, is important to aging. Aging is not just cells wearing out. Aging must also relate to the environment around them. This is a clue that will eventually help us fight aging and extend human lifespan. There are already some dubious clinics offering young blood transfusions on very slim evidence. Parabiosis is not vampirism, but vampirism is still a potent way to express social anxiety. The vampire is an apt symbol for the dangers of life extension science. In 1897 and in 2023, we have certain fears in common. Rent-seeking parasites are draining the economic life from everyone else. Vampire lore captures the seductive quality of life-extending parasitic wealth. People hate and fear the vampire, but maybe they would also like to be the vampire. Everyone wants to slow aging and live longer and healthier. It's scary, though, to consider the implications. How will elderly leaders hold on to power? Will young people be unable to compete for leadership positions in industry or government? Most of the federal office holders are old. It takes time to accumulate power and influence, after all. The median age for a sitting congressperson is in the 60s. What if a congress member held his seat well into his second century? Sitting centenarian senators serving for 50 years? 100 years? This is not a good vision for the future. In the 19th century, too much power rested with the landed nobility. Our situation may not be so different. We must ensure that new ideas do not drown in a sea of old money. We should extend lifespan, but we should not allow the young and poor to be bled dry by the wealthy and immortal. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're amused by this strange parallel between vampires and parabiosis. Have you noticed any other cool connections between folklore and real science? Well, drop me a comment. If you like this kind of thing and want to help me find an audience, hit the like button. If you want more videos about science, esoteric ideas, and society, hit that subscribe button. Check out peterallenlab.com. You can find the links, sources, and shareable illustrations. And I will see you next time.